Hey, it's Dianel. Today I decided to do a story time because literally the last time I did a story time was, my first video. Not my first video, but my first video that's actually public. I wanted to do it on embarrassing stories from high school, specifically one that traumatized me. I might be dragging it a bit. You know those times when you do something very embarrassing and it just haunts you forever? You're just laying in bed on your phone in the middle of the night and you remember it and you want to die. It's one of those stories. So this happened past school year, so junior year at the beginning, like I want to say October, November, something like that. For my US history class, we had to do this homework assignment where we had to fill out these charts and answer some questions. And it was like 4 pages, 4 or 5 pages, something like that. And the next day, what we were gonna do is we were gonna have a seminar. It was gonna go around the classroom and assign a specific question or like chart box for someone to answer. By the time I had that class period, I had a few charts that were incomplete and some that I BS'd because I didn't know what information to put in there because I didn't necessarily find a lot of information on it. But the thing with this teacher is that she's not a bad teacher. I genuinely think she's not a bitch or a bad teacher. I genuinely think she's a good teacher. The first few months, I guess we were all kind of intimidated by her. I don't know. Anyways, so we all wanted to have good answers so she doesn't not like them. As soon as I walk into the classroom, I'm already nervous because I feel like she's going to pick me for something that I have no idea what to say, and then I'm just going to stay quiet in class and everyone's just gonna stare at me and she's gonna stare at me. She's gonna what the fuck. I was already very, very anxious when I walked into that classroom. So we sit down and I start counting off, roughly estimating where I'm going to land because she's going in order and everyone's in a circle type thing. So if she's going in this order, then that means I can track in a way the questions she's going to ask and who she's going to ask it to. But she skipped some and she added some follow-up questions, so I never really knew where I was going to land. Sometimes I thought, oh, I'm fine, this is easy, I know what I have here, I can explain it, I can analyze it, so I'm fine. But other times I was like, okay, I think I'm going to end up with this BS answer I wrote and she's going to not like that and she's gonna make me expand and I'm not gonna know how to expand. And anyways, so the thing about this is that we could not look at our papers. She specifically said before we started that we cannot look at our papers. We cannot look at our papers. We cannot look at our paper while we're saying the answers. So everyone doesn't look at their paper and then it's my turn and I have a relatively easy question, extremely easy question. If you live in the US and you've taken US history, the First Amendment, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of press. I knew that. It's the most basic one, literally the most basic one. So she asked me, did I know First Amendment? Okay. First Amendment, I got this. Look down at my paper, I go, so the First Amendment is freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of press. And she goes, did you just look at your paper? And I'm like, fuck. Why did I look at my paper? There was literally no reason for me to do that. I knew it. I knew the answer. That's what bugs me so much, is that I knew the answer. I knew it. So I didn't have to look at the paper. The reason I'm mad about this, you're probably wondering, why is he so mad about looking at his paper and saying it? Calm down. Okay, you did it now. You don't have to go. It's fine. I could have avoided what happened in the next half of this story. So let me just keep going. She goes to this other student and she tells her to say the second one. And she, again, looks at her paper and she's like, so that's how y'all are going to do this. Okay. Then she asks the next person a question instead of just going through the amendments because she didn't think that was good, because we're just stating things. We're not really analyzing anything. So she just asks questions and she asks the next person a question and they answer it, and then she just keeps going around. And then she goes back to me. She goes, Dianel? I'm like, why is she calling me? I'm confused as to why she's calling me because I am under the impression that I already went and that this was going to be a one round thing. So there was no reason for her to be calling me again. So I'm just shaking. I'm shaking because I'm anxious. I get anxious out of the blue like that. When I'm just called out like that and I have nothing to say. Like, I hate that. I hate when teachers just call you randomly. Like that's not my thing. Like, I get so incredibly nervous and anxious, and I just want to sink into a hole. Even if I know the answer, I'm not going to be able to say it because I was just like caught off guard. So she goes, answer your question. I don't know what she asked me. I heard it at the time, of course I heard it, but I just started freaking out. I was just like, I wasn't saying that on my breath, I was saying that in my mind. Like, in my mind, I was going insane. I was like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? I'm going to die, I'm going to die. Everyone is going to start laughing at me. And I'm like, and I don't care. Like, I don't, like, it's not the class, it's more like the teacher. Like, she very much intimidated me at the time. Now, no, I'm fine. As the year progressed, I was fine. Like, I expected stuff like that from her, so I was ready. But, like, at the beginning of the year, I was just so shook. So I'm like, oh my god, fuck. Like, what am I supposed to say? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't even remember the question at this point. I didn't want to ask her to say the question again because I wasn't going to be able to answer it either way. So I'm just going to be like, oh, can you repeat the question? And she was going to repeat the question, and I'm just going to be like, I have no idea what you said. Even though I could have if I just took a breath and just answered, but I was like shaking and my heart was racing, and I was like, okay. So I just literally do not move. Like, in my head, I'm going crazy. Like, I am yelling at myself, and then I'm just like, and then I just scan my eyes across the classroom, and I just see people staring at me, waiting for the answer, as you would do. And I'm just like, sorry, this is a more accurate depiction. Obviously, I didn't have my arms up like that, but you get the point. That was me, and I didn't say a word. A word did not come out of my mouth. So she just goes, oh, okay, and goes to the next person, asks them a question, and then I'm just there. I get calmer, and I'm like, okay, this is fine. Okay, it happened. Okay, just chill out. It's gonna be fine. You're over it. Like, it's done. There's nothing to be worried about anymore. Oh, was I wrong though? Of course there was something to be worried about again, because again she decided that it was okay to ask me a question again. Like I would genuinely be confused. Like, as a teacher, if a student doesn't answer the question the first time, and you see how visibly nervous said student is, why would you ask them again? Like, that's just my opinion. Anyways, moving on. So she asked me the question, and of course, I hear the question, but I have no idea how to answer it. And it's, the thing with this is not that I do not know the content. Like, I do know the content. I just shut down when you just call me out of the blue, me not expecting you to call on me. So there I am, shaking again, heart racing again, after I thought everything was okay, and I was over it. Like, it wasn't going to happen again. Like, you don't fuck up 3 times. Like, what? So I'm just there, and I'm like, I make eye contact with this girl across the room, and I just laugh. And then I look back at my teacher, and I'm like words didn't even come out of my mouth. I was just like, and just shook my head like that, and she was like, okay. But I was so embarrassed. Like, the first time it was fine, okay, I read it off my paper and I wasn't supposed to, but I gave an answer. Second time I was like, okay. But third time, like, everyone's just staring at me, like, as you would, like, you're like, okay, weird. Yeah, then the class period ends, and I tell all my friends, and then I go home and cry. I'm just kidding. But yeah, that was my embarrassing high school story. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and subscribe for videos every day. Comment down below if you've had any really embarrassing stories in school, and see you tomorrow. Bye.